everyone, I'm Chris Thomas, and this is Land Flipping 101, where you can learn how to earn your financial freedom through land investing, even if you're a complete beginner with no experience. My team and I use data to target good areas, and people often ask how we can sell our land so cheaply. So today I'm going to share some land investing tips for beginners. First, let's take a look at my pipeline as of today. Currently, I have 7 properties listed for sale. Two more just entered into the due diligence phase, which means that we just got the signed contracts entered into due diligence. We have 6 about to be listed, so they're in the listing creation phase, and we have 19 conversations going with prospective sellers as of right now. I have just 1 property set to close this month, which I'm okay with because I purchased it for $25,000 and I plan to sell it for $60,000. That's a $35,000 profit, give or take, with closing costs and with, the odd numbers that I typically use. So my price is not, exactly $25,000 that I'm buying it for. Hi, Kevin. But y'all, that's a 171% return on my investment. So I know that this thing works, and I think it's the best thing. The thing I love about land is that you can flip land for 100% return on investment, working the whole thing from online, from anywhere, and never really having to go see the property or fix anything, which I love because I am not a fixer. It works great for my lifestyle right now, where I need to be able to move around and travel. So today I'm going to talk about land investing tips for beginners. And so I want to talk about money. This is why we're all interested in real estate investing, right? But did you know that money is very easy to find? What is hard to find is really good talent, people who can find the deals. You see, like when I first started, I would look in my checking account at how much money I had in the bank, and that would be how I would decide which properties to target. So if I had $5,000 in the bank, I would send mail targeting properties for $5,000, and guess what? That is exactly what I got. But what if I fictitiously told myself that I have $1 million to do deals? Well, I would send mail targeting $1 million properties. And you know what? People will still open my mail and say, you know what, I do want to sell this property. They'll call you back and say, $1 million sounds fine, and you know that you can sell it for $2 million next week. So just because you don't have the money does not mean that the deal stops right there. What you do is you get into the business of raising capital or finding partners. Because what really happens is if you send mail, you send mail and you find deals and you find people like me who will fund it for you. What's missing is not the capital to get started. What's missing is the deals and the people who know how to get them. There's way more money out there, way more capital than there are deals. So what do you do if you're a beginning real estate investor that wants to find these big deals? I would say, get really organized and get super focused. Send a bunch of mail out, and then if you find any version of a good deal, bring it to me or bring it to someone that you know that could fund it for you. People are not going to let a good acquisition go to waste. So how do you start? You just start with the first deal, just one deal at a time. If you're working a full-time job, you can do it as a side hustle in the beginning. Work your way into it gradually as you're learning the process. But once you find the deal, then just find someone to help. And then prove yourself, and that person will be there for you time and time again. And you can just keep doing deals. But, no good deal should go to waste. You don't have to have your own money to fund your own deals. And that is what's so good about it. All right, well, I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions, so I'm going to go into the group and just look at the questions that have been asked this week. And if you have any questions that are pressing right now, just pop them in the chat on this page. Hi, Andy. All right, so let's see. Anthony says, how are you finding your buyers, especially for those smaller lots? I'm pretty much only on Facebook right now. I see there were a bunch of good answers. Simone Shakur answered. She said, for my last deal, I couldn't find a buyer on Facebook, so I reached out to realtors that had recently sold land in the same area and asked if they had any buyers that would be interested. I thought that was a great answer. Let's see what other questions we have. Oh, Anthony, though, I would also just add to this, and I haven't typed this into Facebook, but you know, when I'm looking for buyers, the main thing I'm doing is I'm listing it on the MLS. But for those smaller infill lots, I'm personally not doing a lot of those. But the way that you find buyers is you go find out who has purchased and sold a lot in the a lot meaning a piece of property with no house on it. Who's been buying those lots and then reselling them after they build a house on them in the last year? You can look and see if any of those are builders, and then those could be your targets. You just look for more lots in that area where they are. Hope that helps. Oh yeah, you guys have put some questions in here. Thanks, Jordan, for the congrats. Hey Marlon, you said, do you find a lot of out-of-state buyers with your system? Yes, currently I am mailing to 6 different states. You're saying out-of-state buyers. I mean, whoever's looking in the area when I list it on the MLS. I mean, I'm finding my buyers by putting my ad, my property listing in the places where people are looking for land, like MLS, like Facebook Marketplace, like Lands of America. I hope that helps. How much mail per deal? Quentin Judson asked. Okay, so there is a little bit of a formula for this. So the more expensive properties that you're sending mail to, the more mail you'll have to send, right? Because so I'll just leave it at that. So for me, for my metrics, I'm mailing to 5 or more acres in the more rural areas, not inside the city, and I'm sending about 1,500 pieces and I'm getting 1 to 3 deals out of that. I'm getting a lot more response from that, but actual deals that come from that is about 1 to 3. And then my average deal is about $35,000, which ironically is what the one that's closing this month will be in profit. Okay, hi Natasha, hi Andy, let's see, Jason, how many properties do you do that are fully funded and purchased versus selling the contract? Okay, that's a great question, Jason. I will tell you first, I never sell the contract. I'm not a wholesaler, although there are many similarities to wholesaling. I'm never assigning contracts. I'm funding the deal myself, but I'm doing it simultaneously to when I'm selling it. So from the way I usually do it is with transactional funding. I have a line of credit, so I can fund it for a few hours, and then it gets sold immediately. I have both lined up at the same time. But there are some states where double closes are legal, where you're using the end buyer's funds to fund your purchase from the seller. The only problem with that is that you have to disclose how much you're buying it for, so the end buyer will know how much you're making. I hope I answered that. I kind of lost track. How do you pick the state or county? Hi, Natasha. We look for properties. We look for areas, so it could be a county, it could be a state, it could be a zip code, where more are sold than for sale. Sam, hi. Can you provide me with the neutral letter? I'm just starting out, and the blind letter would be later when I get better at this business. Oh, Sam, I don't send neutral letters. I don't believe in them because I think it wastes a lot of my time, and I'm pretty lazy. I don't like to just take phone calls from people who may or may not really be interested. Maybe they're just tire kickers, so to speak, who are just trying to find out what their property's worth or get a quote from me, when then I have to go do a whole bunch of work to give them an offer. So instead, I just go ahead and send out the blind offer because I don't want to do all that extra work. I just have there's technology now where you can just price out your mailers pretty quickly, and just send out a blind offer, and then they call you only if they're interested, and then you don't have to deal with it again. When they call you back, you just kind of check and see if your pricing still stands, but you know that the person you're dealing with is already interested, or they've countered you. So no, I can't provide you with a neutral letter, but you can get the exact owner letter and purchase agreement blind offer contract that I send out to every one of my prospects. If you go to landflipping101.com, enter your email address, and I'll email you the actual 2-page blind offer letter I use. Something else you said in there, Sam, you said you're just starting out and you feel like you're not good enough at the business. But the truth is, it's all about talking to people. It's just relationships. So when people call, you just talk to them, find out what their situation is, and then decide whether or not you can help them. Hey, Tom. Okay, thanks, Sam. I'm glad you have that. All right, let's see what other questions there are in the land flipping group. I'm only planning to stay on a few more minutes. Let's see. Oh, I did post earlier in the week that I had a prospective seller respond to me this week, agreeing to the offer I made to him. And I just said, one of my questions that I ask a seller when I'm first talking to them is, do you have any other properties? And yes, this guy had 2 other properties. So the first one I was buying was a 5-acre parcel. And when I send my mail, I take out duplicates, so I don't send this guy 3 letters on his 3 different properties. But I always ask, sellers, do they have any others? Because, obviously I would rather buy more than less. And this particular seller said, yes, I have another 5-acre parcel and I have a 10-acre parcel, and both of those I'd be willing to sell at the same price per acre. And when I did the research with my team, I quickly realized that it was a great deal, and I put all 3 under contract. So very excited about that. Y'all, the key to my success has really just been consistent daily action. I say this every week on my Friday at noon Facebook Live. I just send out mail each and every week without fail. That is the most important thing that I do in my business, is send the mail. Because if I take the steps and I send the mail, I get motivated sellers sending me back contracts without even talking to me sometimes. Of course, I do pick up the phone and call, but they just send them in signed, and it's amazing. I mean, this is a proven business model. If you send the mail, you will find deals. And as I spoke earlier about the funding, if you're worried about how you're going to fund the deal, come to me or someone else that knows how to fund it, because you can start as small or as large as you would like. You're only limited by your own imagination. You can invest your own money if you have it, or your line of credit, or just use one of dozens of investment options out there, like a double close, without risking any of your own money, especially if you don't have it. So I have been asked by several people if I would mentor them, and so I will be starting up a small group mastermind to teach some people, just a small group, exactly how I've successfully flipped rural vacant residential property and averaged $35,000 profit per deal. So if you're interested, today's actually the deadline, and we're not taking everyone. We just don't have room, but I'm going to take a small group. So if this is something you really want to do, send me a private message as soon as possible.